JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 23rd of June 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning live session where we can have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts that we looked at yesterday. Yep, but as always, before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now let's have a quick look at what's happening here globally. Now, in terms of the coronavirus, now of course it kind of slowed down a little bit. However, still the kind of the leaderboard, if we can call it this way, remains the same. So US is leading the way in total amount of infections and total amount of deaths, followed by Brazil then in terms of infections and deaths as well. But then in terms of infections, Russia is in third place, but in the third place in terms of deaths is the United Kingdom, which kind of creates a very bad mortality rate for the country. So of course, we'll continue monitoring this. We'll see. We'll hope that the numbers, daily cases, can start falling again, and we'll see how the market will react to that. Now then, jumping into a few indices. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the Nikkei 225 index. This morning, although the index closed slightly in the positive territory, it still remained below this 22,624 level that I kept talking about for the past kind of few videos. And what I was telling that in a way we need to see a nice good daily close above this area in order to aim for higher levels. But as you can see, today we did have an overshoot here, but still the daily candle remained below this level. Now of course, for now we'll stay careful here, because again, like I said, although yes, it is the index is kind of trading above these upside support lines, it's still both of those upside support lines are tentative. So that's why we need to see a nice good daily close above the 22,624 zone in order to aim for higher levels. If we do get something like that, then yes, we'll aim for further acceleration to the upside. In terms of the upside, well, given that the index is now kind of shifting a little bit more to the downside, previously I talked about this area here around the 21,400 zone, a break of which could in a way open the door towards lower levels. This would also place the price below the 200-day EMA, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. However, given, like I said, that it's shifting a little bit more to the right now, maybe we could actually start looking at some maybe slightly higher levels, after a break of which we could consider maybe some downside, at least a little bit. And probably one of the levels that we're going to keep an eye on will be here, the low of the 18th of June, near the 22,125 zone. A nice good drop below this could also place the price below, not only below all these upside lines, but also the 21-day EMA here on the daily chart. So So yep, something to keep in mind, something to consider, guys. And yep, we'll, like I said, we'll take it from there. Yep, for now, it is where it is. So we'll probably take a bit of a cautious approach. The German DAX. Now here, with this index, it closed yesterday slightly in the red, but remained within this little range that I talked about yesterday, and that's roughly between the 12,133 zone on the downside and the 12,484 zone on the upside. So basically, the index kind of continues to balance in this area. Looking at the cash index right now, the cash index is also balancing between these two levels. Excuse me. So in a way, we're just gonna probably wait until we get a clear break through one of these levels that I've mentioned, and then kind of maybe aim for a further short-term directional move. Because if we get a nice push above the 12,484 zone, then yes, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and initially we'll target the high, or should I say near the high of June. We'll let me just quickly capture that level. This is, by the way, slightly around here. The one that I have here right now, the 12,887, is the lowest point of December 2019. But the highest point of June, the current highest point of June, is roughly near the 12,913 zone. So which could be a very nice target if the 12,484 level gets broken. And of course, if we do reach this area, we'll take it from here, because this is a very strong area of resistance here, also marked by the lowest point of January. Let me just, unfortunately, no, that's the lowest point of January 30th. That's the low of the January 31st. There we go, because the lowest point of January is a little bit around here, but probably let's not overcomplicate things here. We'll keep an eye on that level instead. So and the lowest point of January 30 and low of the January 31st is near the 12,974 territory. But again, like I said, if we do get a pop above the 12,484 zone, then yes, we will aim for that this area right here, the highest point of June. In terms of the downside, now here, if we get a drop below the 12,133 territory, yes, we could aim for lower levels, but as I've mentioned yesterday, that in a way, still this move lower could be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of buying, because the index still remains above this upside support line taken from the low the 19th of March, and that's why even if we get a drop below the 12,133 zone, yes, we will aim for lower levels, but only up until this upside line. From here, we'll take it from here basically, and if we do get a violation and a break of below this upside line, then maybe further declines could be possible. But again, let's keep it short and simple for now. We'll reevaluate everything again if we do get a break through one of these levels that I mentioned earlier. Gold managed to finally stay above the 1748 zone. I talked about this one yesterday, and as you can see, yesterday it also traveled higher, but found good resistance near one of these levels that I also mentioned yesterday, near the 1763 zone, and it then declined, but as I said, remained above the 1748 territory. Now, of course, all this kind of creates more of a positive atmosphere here for the buyers, and we could continue aiming higher here, especially if it travels above the 1763 level as well. And yep, the next target for us could be around the 1795-96 zone, roughly around here, which is near the highest point of 2012. In terms of the downside, as I've mentioned before, we would need to see this one drifting back into this range that I talked about previously, and maybe dropping below somewhere the midpoint of the range near the 1708 zone, and then targeting lower areas. So for now, guys, we'll be very careful. Yes, we are leaning a little bit more to the upside here. We'll be very cautious, of course, but yeah, like I said, there is more chance for this one to drift higher because, like I said, we managed to overcome this key area of resistance near the 1748 zone. Brent oil. Brent oil, I looked at this one yesterday as well, and basically the commodity continues to trade above this short-term upside support line taken from the low, the 22nd of April. However, this barrier here continues to provide decent resistance, and that barrier is roughly near the 43.40 zone. I talked about this one yesterday as well. So basically, in other words, in order for us to aim for higher levels, we need to see a nice good violation of this level. And just in addition to that, we would maybe like to see a daily close, at least a daily close above this, because what we don't want to see is a false breakout here today. So if this pushes higher, breaks above this 43.40 zone, climbs higher, but then at the end of the day reverses and drops back below this level. So that's what we don't want to see. That's why we'll probably wait for a close, a daily close above this 43.40 zone, and then aim for higher levels. And in a way slightly higher levels, because we do have strong resistances here. First of all, near the 45.20 zone, which is marked by the low of the 6th of March. Then we do have the 200-day EMA here as well, which also could provide some resistance for this commodity. And yeah, we'll take it from there, because again, we do have a level here at 48.42, but let's probably not get ahead of ourselves too much. First, let's see if we can actually get that daily close above this 43.40 zone. In terms of the downside, we will take a very conservative approach here and probably wait for a drop below the 36.96 zone in order to aim for to get comfortable with lower levels here. But again, we may reevaluate this. I may reevaluate this, and probably maybe if we get a break of this upside line, then I'll have a look at this commodity. Then maybe there will be a better level somewhere from around here. So, but again, like I said, for now it's leaning a little bit more to the upside, but we need that confirmation break first. Ripple. Now, if Bitcoin and Ethereum managed to pop nicely to the upside yesterday, Ripple stayed on the kind of modest side, and to be honest, I mean, it did push higher, but not significantly, let's put it this way. But first of all, of course, what I'm going to do here is when I'm going to clear up this chart, and we'll start a bit of fresh. So first of all, we can clearly see that there is a short-term downside resistance line here that's running from around the high of the 30th of April. So yep, we can see that the crypto is trading below that line. However, at the same time, it's struggling to drop lower, drop below somewhere below this area. Let me just quickly capture this. So yes, there's going to be somewhere around here, basically. So near the 0.1813 zone, roughly around there. And you can see that the commodity is kind of still balancing above this. In addition to that, is also actually a maybe even better support level could be seen here near the 0.1743 mark, and that is marked near the low of the 16th of April and near the low of the 10th of May. So basically, it captures here the lowest point of May. So in other words, if we get a nice drop below this 0.1743 territory, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, further declines could be possible. But again, for now, because we're stuck here, and well, we could even say maybe this is a nice descending triangle pattern here. However, we will probably take a bit of a neutral stand for now, and wait for a violation of either the 0.1743 zone in order to aim for lower levels, or we'll wait for a break of this downside line in order to start considering the upside. But again, for now, guys, it is a very tricky one here on Ripple. Of course, ideally we would prefer to wait for a push above the 0.2152 territory marked by the high of the 2nd of June here, or in other words, the highest point of June, and then aim for higher levels, because again, all this territory is kind of a bit of a tricky one. So that's why if somebody's looking here for a possible long-term move, well, you might have to wait here to capture a decent uprise or something, or at least something has to happen in the crypto world that could trigger a strong move here. For now, it's just weak. It's just not very exciting, if we can put it this way, and that's why we're gonna wait for for now we'll stay calm here and wait wait for a breakthrough one of these levels, either through this downside line or through the break through the 0.1743 zone in order to aim for lower levels. Jumping into a few pairs very quickly, NZDCAD. Now, I talked about this one recently, and basically I was telling you guys, especially last week, I was talking about this one, and where I was covering this idea where the pair could drift lower, but if it finds good support near the 0.8712 zone, it may rebound, and this is what it did yesterday. It drifted lower, but it still rebounded sharply back to the upside and climbed higher. And right now it's kind of still trading within this little range. So and this range is roughly between the 0.8712 and the 0.88 zone. But the most important level for us here right now that we're keeping an eye on is the 0.88 barrier. That's the highest point of December of last year, and of course it's near the current highest point of this year as well. So for now we need to see a nice good strong move above the 0.88 level in order to aim for higher levels, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, higher levels could be met. In terms of the downside, from the very short-term perspective, if we eventually see a daily close below the 0.8712 territory, then yep, we could maybe consider a bit of a larger correction to the downside, because don't forget that we're still trading above this upside support line taken from the low the 19th of March. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. GBPCAD. Now here the situation is also a little bit difficult, I would say, because let me just remove all the lines. Now the pair drifted lower on Friday, and yesterday it managed to climb back and climb back above this 1.6845 territory, which is marked by the low of this 27th of May, and probably that's the lowest point of May as well. So yep, the lowest point of May, you can see that the pair is trading right now above this area, although we are seeing a bit of a decline here. However, it still remains above the lowest point of May, which kind of gives a bit of hope here for the buyers. If the rate does continue to balance above the 1.6845 zone, then of course, yes, we could maybe see a bit of upside here, a move move towards the 21-day EMA maybe, but probably the bulls should not get their hopes up too early, because we do have this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 1st of May, and which in a way could provide some resistance. So that's why even if we do see this one traveling higher, the holdup might occur near this downside line. If this downside line gets broken, then yep, wonderful, could see this one pushing higher. However, to get a little bit more comfortable with the upside, we'd probably prefer to wait for a push above the current highest point of June near this 1.7175 zone. At the same time, the rate would be placed above all of its EMAs as well. So that's why be very careful. But for now, the main kind of scenario probably could be that we might see a bit of correction here to the upside, maybe a hold up near the 21-day EMA or this downside line, and if it struggles to move above this above all this, then another round of selling could be possible. For those who are more on the cautious side, you could just wait for a drop below the low of last week near the 1.6751 zone, and then aim for further declines, because then a break below that area would could open the door towards the lowest point of March and the lowest point of this year near the 1.6551 zone. But again, for now, the scenario that we're looking at here could be like something like this here. So let me just put this one on the chart. So there we go. So let's see if this is going to work out. USDCHF, a quick update here. I talked about this one yesterday, and basically this is what I was mentioning, guys, because what I was saying, that in a way, yes, yesterday I was talking about this potential kind of maybe bullish pattern here, but as I said before yesterday, that we still need to see a nice good pop above the 0.9544 zone, and then we could aim for higher levels, because as you can see, this is what happened, and this is what happens normally if you don't wait for that confirmation break. Basically, you can see that the pair reversed sharply to the downside. However, it remained above this 0.9460 territory, which we'll continue monitoring, because if this gets broken, then yes, lower levels could be met. We could see the pair drifting towards the current lowest point of June, near the 0.9376 level. But until we get that break, we're not going to do anything here, because what we don't want, well, what could happen here is the pair could start ranging for a bit, and basically not much action could happen here, and that's why we will wait for a confirmation break. And again, like I said, for the upside, we're waiting for that 0.9444 level to get violated in order to aim for higher levels, and for the downside, a drop below the 0.9460 territory could do the trick here for more sellers. And finally, EURUSD. So here the problem, and this is what I talked about yesterday. Basically, the pair did accelerate higher and climbed back above the 1.1237 territory. However, it remained below this downside line taken from the high of the 10th of June. All this kind of activity doesn't really help us here, and because it just kind of creates more confusion, because as you can see, the pair did find good support near the 21-day EMA. It rebounded, yes, and traveled higher, but failed to move above this downside line. This morning we did have a small overshoot. However, still they can see that the bears are trying to push this one back below this downside line. So in a way, probably looking at this picture now, we will take a very, very neutral approach, and we'll wait for a clear breakthrough one of our levels. And previously, when I talked about the upside, I was saying that in order to aim for higher levels, we would like to see a push above the 1.1384 level in order to aim for higher levels. But if we do get a break of this downside line, then maybe we could aim for a bit of a move higher here towards this 1.1384 zone. But again, we will be very careful here, because we do have a bunch of resistance levels that could play out here, could halt the acceleration, like for example the 1.1353 level marked by the high of the 16th of June, and well, that's why it's a bit of a tricky situation here for now. But again, if we do get a break of this downside line, if we see a daily candle remaining above this downside line, then yes, we could maybe consider a bit of an upside. However, we'll be very, very careful. In terms of the downside, I mean, probably that's it. We'll take a very conservative approach, and first we'll probably wait not a drop below this 1.1147 level, as I've mentioned previously, but a drop below the low of last week and the low of yesterday, and that's roughly around the 1.1168 zone. So in other words, basically, if we do get a move somewhere below this area right here, then yep, further declines could be possible, and we could see this one drifting towards the 200-day EMA or even below that. But again, for now, guys, it's the rate is closer to the downside line, and that's why we will remain very careful here. So that's why if we do get a break of this downside line and we do see a daily candle staying above this, then yes, we could consider a bit of an upside. However, the more comfortable level for us after a break of which we could aim for higher levels would be from here, from the 1.1384 zone. So guys, I hope you found it useful. I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and thank you very much for joining in. I really appreciate your time. So if you want to catch my video later on, my trader's tea time is always 13:15 GMT. But for now, guys, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, guys, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.